time for another Soccer Down Here 1v1, and for this one we catch up with Washington Spirit. And someone's got spirit. Yes, I know. What's the saying, Croix? I've got spirit. Yes, I do. I've got spirit. How about you? That's what it is. I finally figured it out. Croix Bethune hanging out with us here as she's getting everything squared away with her time with Washington Spirit. Croix, thanks for hanging out for a 1v1.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. So how is it? So how is camp? Let everybody know what's going on.
Camp's going pretty well right now. We're just trying to get the basis, a bunch of new girls. We have a new staff. So really just starting at the base and building up.
So let's go back to draft day and what it was like in the household. What did you have? What was your vibe? What were your spidey senses telling you about where you might be able to go in the Super Draft?
So I was actually in California. I was at the draft with my parents, my Kadani, my coach, and then one of my best friends, Lizzie. I had good vibes going in, knowing that I would be picked up, just honestly not knowing where because you never know. But I did speak to Washington Spirit in the process, and things just came full circle. They worked out. So, yeah.
How did it go? Was it like it is in the NFL draft where you're like sitting at a table or you're like in a couple of rows or something, and then somebody's phone vibrates and they sit there and look at it and it goes, it's Washington. So how did that work? Was it like the NFL draft?
Yeah, so it's kind of the same. I was sitting on a couch and next thing you know, my phone rang and I was like, oh, it's Mike. And I answer it. He's like, hey, Croix, how you doing? I'm like, hey, Mike, I'm good. How about you? And he asked me you still interested? I'm like, of course I'm interested. And from there, just got picked.
Has it sunk in?
It has, just because we're in grind mode right now, business time. So I'm loving every bit of it.
No doubt about it. All right. So for those that may not know the path, Alpharetta High, USC, UGA, and now with Spirit. When you look back at your time as a Raider at Alpharetta, what did you, when you look back to then to now, how much have you grown as a person and as a player from, say, your senior year to now?
I didn't play high school soccer. I played club and then youth national team. So I through the process of club and youth national team, I feel like I've kind of been in a professional aspect just at a younger age. So really just kind of growing with the same mindset as I've gotten older and as the players have increased with talent. But yeah, I feel like I've matured on the field and just continued learning, because at the end of the day, you don't really know everything and there's always something that you can learn.
There was one quote that's kind of stuck with me about your time, and it was, when it comes to dealing with pressure at the time, and this was from the time that you were at USC. I don't feel pressure because pressure is what builds strength. You have to love the pressure to be great.
Yeah.
When did you adopt that mindset? When did that click for you?
I'd say at a young age, just because of the position I play. So I'm really in the middle of the field and there's always a bunch of people around me. So I'm going to have pressure on me, whether it's literally or metaphorically. But I love pressure. I love competition. It's what makes me drive and play the game. So yeah, you get used to it, honestly, the more you continue to play.
How long did it take you to get used to dealing with pressure and being the center of attention? Because I know that everybody will focus on the flash and everything that's associated with you in your game, as it has been from national team all the way through college. But how long did it take you to become comfortable in that kind of skin?
On the field, I've just kind of been used to it because I love the game. So I'm kind of just doing me out there and just playing. Off the field, I'm still a little I'm very humble. So I just, try to shy it away. But I'm coming out of my shell within attention.
Your parents, obviously, big role models in that idea of staying humble the entire time, because I know that they were helping serve our country, and you kind of moved around a little bit. Obviously, how much of an influence have they been when it comes to how you carry yourself?
Man, my parents are my everything. They're my rock. Honestly, I wouldn't be here without them. And yeah, people might say that it's their job since they are my parents, but at the end of the day, everything in life is a choice. And I'm just extremely grateful and thankful that they have made the choice to continue pushing me to my dreams and really just being there for me. Like, they're amazing, honestly.
How much of them is in you and how much of you is in them? And what I mean by that is, if you look at your parents and they have certain personality traits, how much of that is in you as a person, and how much of you, as you come out of your shell and have this new stage in your life, how much of you
Yeah.
has rubbed off onto them now?
Yeah, I love that question, honestly, because when you're a young kid and your parents tell you stories about when they were younger, you're kind of just like, yeah, okay. But the more I've gotten older, it's like, wow, like, y'all are my twins. Like, I see, like, we're the same people. And it's crazy. As you get older, you just realize that they were right. And then myself and them, like, my dad is very competitive. He's athletic as well. I'd say I more so get my athletic side from him, but my mom is very organized and down to the detail of the T, and I really see myself in her as well. So it's literally a perfect blend of the both of them.
When it comes to the other interests that you have, are you still digging poetry, art, and fashion? Is that still part of your fabric?
Of course, that's just me.
So when it comes to poets, who do you gravitate toward? When it comes to artists, who do you gravitate toward? And when it comes to fashion, who do you gravitate toward?
With poetry and art, I never really looked at poets and artists. I just kind of do it because I like it, and it's a way for me to express myself besides soccer. But with fashion, there's a bunch of people, whether they're actual like artists, like as in fashions, or just like other athletes that also know how to dress and put it on, as we say.
Yeah, hey, nothing wrong with putting it on. So then when it comes to styling and profiling, who do you look at as those other athletes that really know how to carry themselves in a fashion sense, that you look up and you sit there and go, okay, yeah, I like that. I like how that person's representing style and fashion. Who do you gravitate toward when you look at other folks?
A couple people on the top of my head. I think Sue Bird is kind of fly. There's a couple other, like, the way the NBA athletes dress. I like the way they dress. Megan Rapinoe, she knows how to dress. There's a couple more, but that's just on the top of my head right now.
So when you're walking into a stadium and you got the small suitcase behind you and you're dragging it and it's on two wheels and you're making the walk and the TV camera's there and all the teammates are making that walk going past the TV camera. When you're styling, what is your go-to outfit? And you can drop names and sit there and go, okay, well, I'm wearing this jacket from this person, this jacket, this pair of slacks, and for the who when you go to your closet.
Mm-hmm.
Who are on the tags? Who do you sit there and go, yep, I'm going here today?
It depends on the vibe. Usually my go-to is streetwear. So I also like thrift a lot. So it really could just be like thrifted clothes that I put together. But I can't say a specific brand. I'm sorry.
No, that's all good. No, because you mentioned thrift, and I know a lot of folks will sit there and they'll see things that have triggered in their brain. They're like, oh, I like that. And it's something that you hadn't had exposure to until you went down that line, and you're like, okay, yeah, I dig that, and that's not something that I hadn't seen before. But
Right.
I mean, that's just how things are represented these days, to where you can make the walk and you're comfortable in your own skin. What's it like for you now, having come from USC and UGA, now that you're in the pros? How different do you have to carry yourself now that you're in the NWSL?
Sorry, can I backtrack real quick? I have to
Go for it.
shout out my girl Deanna Ordonez. She's fly for sure. But it's definitely the way you have to carry yourself. It's a big switch because now this is your job. It's not just like you're in school, but also playing soccer. This is something that you take even more serious. Whether that's your mental, your physical, for me, even spiritually, like every day, every minute, every second of that day counts. Whether it's an off day, in reality, you still have to take care of your body and get treatment and get in the tubs, and every second counts. So you're never really off.
So describe for me what is now a normal day. And yes, I did just use air quotes to describe a normal day in the life of professional athlete Croix Bethune. What does that entail?
Right. So Since we are in camp, I've been in camp longer than I have been at DC. So I'll say a normal day at camp. Honestly, you wake up, have breakfast in the morning, hydration, and then meeting before practice. You train, and then, of course, take care of your body after. So that's treatment and recovery. And if we have meetings, then you have maybe about a couple meetings. If you don't, then you have some downtime just to relax or really do whatever you need after treatment. And then you'll have another meeting at the end of the day and dinner and then some downtime. But yeah, that's a normal day.
So are you one of those folks that likes to sit there and crash and get 8 to 10 hours of sleep, or are you always go, go, go? I can get away with 4 or 5.
8 to 10, I need my sleep. Yeah, sleep is important, especially as an athlete. It's very important.
What do you think you need to still work on the field to continue to become the total package as a professional? Because I know that you're going from, say, 17, 18 into college. You're sitting there and it's like, okay, I've got to work on these things to get to this level and be comfortable and continue to grow. What about now that you're done with college, heading into pro? What do you think you still need to work on now as you're heading into life as a pro?
For me, my biggest thing in 2024, I actually wrote this down as one of my goals, is consistency. So just to be consistent all over, offense, defense, the little details, recovery, consistency throughout everything.
Another couple of minutes with Croix Bethune hanging out with us, the number 3 overall draft pick in the NWSL draft this past year, now a part of everything with the growth of Washington Spirit. And when it comes to your speed dial, I know that you're probably in your room at the end of a day or something, and you've got questions. And it could be a question about being an athlete, could be a question about day-to-day and all this kind of stuff. How deep is your speed dial? How many folks can you sit there and flip your phone and sit there and, hey, I've got a question, I need to talk to so-and-so? How many folks are on your speed dial right now that you can have and have counsel, and they'll pick up the phone and answer a question?
Quite a bit. The soccer world is very small when you think about it. So I have a lot of friends that are in the league. I still have a lot of friends in college, whether they're my age in the league or older. The soccer world is small, and what I love about us women is we're sticking together. So if you do have questions, you can just reach out to anyone, and they'll be glad to help you. Because at the end of the day, we're all family in the soccer world. So
how much do you consider yourself a role model, even though you're still at a very young age?
I do. Thankfully, at USC, it kind of showed me that like little girls do look up to you, and they were coming to us after the games, whether they had questions, wanted to take pictures. And what I've learned at a young age is someone or everyone is always watching your every move. So just to be aware. So I would consider myself a role model.
And I mean, there've been a lot of accolades that have been attached to your resume. Now, let me see if I've got them all here. First player in Pac-12 history to earn back-to-back Pac-12 Midfielder of the Year honors. Additionally, Mac Hermann semifinalist 2021, first or second all-conference every year of your playing career, one of 5 college players named to the women's national team preliminary roster for 22 CONCACAF championship. I mean, this is a lot that you've been able to accomplish in a short period of time, and we've talked about how your parents keep you grounded. I mean, it's a lot, but do you ever get the chance to sit there and say, I've really done a lot. I've had a lot of help to get me here, but I've got a lot of recognition so far that has helped to get me to this particular point. I know you don't get wrapped up in it, but do you have time to think about it?
I do think about it. Sometimes my parents will show me, and it's like a reminder of what I've done to show what I can continue to do. But also how I think about it is like, if you don't know, then you'll find out, and if you do, like that's great for you. But also, like, it's not about what you've done or what you can talk about, it's what you do when you're on the field. So yeah, I might have those accomplishments, but if I'm not performing and say we have a game tomorrow, then those accomplishments don't matter because I didn't perform in present time.
We've all had posters on our wall growing up, or pictures or what have you. I know that when I was growing up, I had posters on my wall back in the days of black and white television, back in the late 1790s when I was a young kid. I had posters on my wall. Who were the posters on your wall, or who did you have like in pieces of paper? Who did you always have as posters on your wall growing up? Who were your role models?
Marta, I love all the Brazilians, Ronaldinho, the real Ronaldo, Rivaldo. Yeah. back in the day, I was a Man U fan, so like Rooney and Ronaldo. Right now, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to take Messi. Like,
Nothing wrong with that. As someone who's Team Messi, I'm right there with you.
yep. Marta, but yeah, love the Brazilians.
All right, so then you are part of Croix Bethune's Dream 11.
Mm-hmm.
You get to be out there in the midfield for your Dream 11. Who are the other 10 players out there with you as you take on another team of all-stars on the other half of the pitch? Who's in this Dream 11 of yours?
That's a deep question. Both genders or just
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, you said Messi, so we've already gone there. So first
Yeah.
off, what's your formation? Are you going 4-3-3 or what are you doing?
We could stay in a 4-3-3, but we're versatile. We'll be versatile. We'll move it around on
All
the
right,
field.
go for it. All right, so who's in net?
In the net, either Van Gogh from Man U, like back in the day, or Brianna Scurry. Left. Dang, this is a hard question.
Well, I mean, we can start at the front and work our way back if you want. I mean, if backline is going to be the hardest part, who's your front three?
My front three.
And you said versatile, so I mean, you can pretty much go all-star here if you want to.
I really could.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Ronaldinho, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Mbappe for some speed over there.
Okay.
I need a center forward.
Maybe you're just somebody who's just going to stay center forward, and you know, once again, formations we know they're fluid, so you know you just have
sure.
You get three dudes up top, so it doesn't necessarily mean that the center forward's going to stay at center forward. He might drift a little bit, might come back a little bit to help you out in the midfield, might go over to the wing, they might flip. So who's your third?
Holland.
Okay, Erling Haaland. Gotcha. Nothing like having a power forward in the middle of it all. All right, so who's with you in the midfield?
I'll say me, Messi, and Marta.
Okay.
Dang.
And so,
tricky.
that ain't bad. Back line. What's your back four?
Back four.
Unless you're going to add a fourth midfielder and go 3-4-3.
I'm going to have to think about the back four.
Okay, like I said, you can add a midfielder and go 3-4-3 if you want.
I could.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, this is your Dream 11 now. I'm just sitting there and suggesting formations, but we all know formations are fluid.
This is the first time I've been asked this question. I've never had to think this before. I'm gonna have to leave it right there. I'm gonna have to come back to you.
Okay. All right. So, and you got net all figured out. All right. So then, as you're thinking about your back three before we go, what is your go-to meal that you think will help out other athletes if they don't have it as their go-to meal?
My go-to pregame meal?
Pregame meal could be your recovery meal, could be your favorite cheat food, whatever you want to play it.
My go-to meal. I would say probably some soul food or seafood. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a restaurant in Atlanta that was always there for you when you went soul food, seafood?
Soul food, my grandma's house. Can't go wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, for sure.
All right. All right. So we got to circle back to this back three, unless you're going to just go like two defenders and just front load everything and do like a 2-6-3 or something, or a 2-5-3. It's all gas, no brakes. FC with Croix Bethune. This is what we're doing.
Back line. Let's see. You know what? I'll put Casey back there, especially since I'm playing with her right now. She's great.
Okay.
Outside backs. Let's see. This is deep.
The Croix Bethune All-Star XI. This is what we're doing here.
My brain is going blank. Let's see. Oh.
Well, then tell you what. When you think of your outside backs, shoot me a note, and you can tell me who they are, and I'll talk about them on the show.
I for sure will. I'm going to have to.
Well, Croix, as you know, always, it's great to catch up with you. And I know that a lot of folks that were in and around the Atlanta area, a lot of folks who might have barked at you on the Georgia campus, I'm sure were interested in this next stage. What was it like having that? Let me ask, I fib. Last question. What's it like having people bark at you, and are people going to bark at you in Washington?
It was funny. At first, I'm like, is this real? But once you're in the culture, you kind of joined it. So I'm barking back like, Go Dogs. But it was amazing, honestly. UGA can't miss the culture there, the love. It's just great being there, honestly. It was
And
a lot of fun.
I can't wait for people to start barking at you in Washington in the
Oh,
NWSL. I think that'd be a hoot if that actually happened, because then I know that you would bark back.
yep.
A
Yeah.
true Renaissance individual, poet, artist, fashionista extraordinaire, and now a part of things in the NWSL. Croix, thanks for hanging out with us for a 1v1. Fantastic insight. Good luck with camp. Good luck with the season. We'll be keeping an eye, and I want those outside backs from you for the
Of
Croix Bethune
course.
starting 11.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I love this.